but it's just me singing Taylor Swift's Blank Space with my ukulele, I might post it.
Should I know what that song that is? How's that song go?
Well, I mean, most people know what
Blanky
song.
blank face, blanky blank face, blank
No,
blank blanky blank
no.
face.
So it's gonna be forever, or it's gonna go down in flames. You can tell me when it's over.
Did
If
you
the
do it?
high was worth the pain. You don't know this song?
Maybe if I heard
Dan,
Taylor Swift singing it.
it sounds exactly like when I just sang it. So if you haven't heard that, you haven't heard T Swift.
Hey, watching with Dan and Tony. Hey, watching with Dan and Tony. It's like watching, yeah.
Welcome to Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm Dan,
And I'm Tony.
and we're ready to punch it up.
Punch it up.
That's another song. So on this show, we watch movies that came out in the past, as opposed to watching movies that came out in the future.
I would
And
do
then
that if they allowed us to.
If we had
Just for
that
the record.
that magic future TV,
Crystal ball. I'm in.
Each week we watch a movie and then we come on the internet / podcast place sphere, podcastosphere.
Well, back to one, everybody. Back to one. And roll cam.
We go to the podcastosphere and we spit those words into your ears, from our ears to your mouth to ears.
This is good. This is good. If you made it through that, you're going to love the show. Congratulations.
So, this week, Tony picked a movie. Tony, tell us about the movie you picked for us.
So I'm going to take you through my journey emotionally last week as we watched Dune. It was, I mean, you know, it's Dune, so it was crazy, and I was like, I want something more fun. And so I went to the comedy vault of great classics.
Yes.
And I pulled out one of my favorite comedic actors, Brendan Fraser.
Brilliant.
Which I thought was for sure going to be a home run.
Yes.
And I picked Dudley Do-Right.
Yep.
And I was wrong on all counts.
Now, first question I'm going to ask you, Tony.
Yeah.
There's a lot to get into. I did a lot of research for this movie.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I did as much research as I could, and it's very hard to do any research for this movie because no one wants to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it, but it was my choice, so I feel like I have to.
Which movie made more sense, Dudley Do-Right or Dune?
Oh, God. I mean, that's such a hard... that's a tough call because neither of them make a lick of sense. And what I think I'm going to go with Dune only because it's more understandable that it's confusing because so much happens in Dune.
Sure.
Whereas Dudley Do-Right has no excuse for not making any sense because almost nothing happens. How can you write such a simple story and have it make no sense whatsoever? That's ridiculous.
So Dudley Do-Right came out in 1999. Other movies that came out in 1999.
Oh yeah, give that to me.
She's All That.
One of the greatest films of all time.
Fight Club.
Oh, so good.
The Matrix.
So we knew how to make movies at this time. Is that what you're telling me?
Hold on, it gets better. The Mummy.
Oh my God. What a confusing year for Brendan Fraser.
Hold on, it's not over. Blast from the Past.
Oh, great. Didn't the same guy do Blast from the Past?
As this horrible movie?
Yeah.
No, not at all.
No, you don't think so?
No, okay. I know so.
Oh, you know. Know.
Do you think I didn't watch interviews with the guy that wrote and directed this mess? You know I did.
I imagine you did. Yeah.
Yes.
And I imagine it was great. That's such a... I wonder when they were all filmed, just the Brendan Fraser movies. I wonder which order they were filmed in and who decided that they all got released the same year.
Well, I have a few more things to go into. We're gonna set this movie up because this movie. Oh
yeah, all right. Set the scene, Dan.
Okay, your boy Brendan Fraser burst on the scene. Encino Man, 1991.
Great movie.
Pauly Shore.
Yeah.
Super fun, super stupid
classic.
movie. Great. George of the Jungle, 1998.
Which this should have been similar to. In my
Okay,
opinion.
we're gonna get back. We're gonna get back to
Okay.
George. We're gonna put George
Sorry.
on the
But
shelf,
I love
and
George. George is dumb, sure, but it works.
and then in 2001, Brendan did Monkey Bone. 2 years
Is
after
that
this
Chris
movie,
Kattan? Is he in?
I believe Chris Kattan is in that movie too.
I don't. I think I feel like I've seen this movie, but I don't remember it.
It is insane. It is
Okay.
just pure insanity. People went into this movie and then they walked out and they like said, who snuck acid into my soda pop, because it's insane. Monkey Bone is insane
happened?
in a
Okay.
fun way. It's actually a pretty
All
fun
right.
movie. I
I
haven't
should go
seen it
back
in
and
years.
watch that.
We
Yeah.
probably should go back and watch it at some point. And that was the beginning of sort of the slide of his career, where then he did
Okay.
the Journey to the Center of the Earth and those kind of movies, which were really more and more kids movies.
Yep.
And then he kind of did voice work and TV work, and now he's kind of coming back with Doom Patrol and some other things.
Which he's great in.
Yeah, which he's great in.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a teetering point, this movie.
Okay.
So this movie cost $70 million to make.
For what? What did they spend that money on, Dan?
The guy that wrote and directed came in, and then he's
Okay.
like, okay, I'll do this. I'll write it and I'll direct it. $5 million.
Okay, hold on. You're telling me the gentleman who wrote and directed this piece of shit made $5 million?
Yes. Yes.
I could write better than this in my sleep. And that's more money than I'll ever see in my entire life. And I'm talking about if I got all of my friends to put all of their money into a room, we wouldn't even come close to how much he made for writing this script in 18 minutes? Because that's about how long it took him to write it. That's insane.
Okay, this whole thing gets even more complex. Okay, so $70 million, he gets $5 million. How much did the movie make? Domestic
I don't know,
box office.
1 million?
Made nine and some change. Made about 10 million. George of the Jungle, which came out 1 year, 2 years earlier, cost $55 million to make.
Okay.
Made $174 million.
That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense.
Now, you've seen George. I watched the beginning of George, a little bit of the middle, and the end. George of the Jungle is an incredibly straightforward movie. It understands exactly who it is. At the end, it's all about him making this giant swing and then running into a tree, and that's what solves the. I mean, literally, they hit that beat again and again and again and again, because that's the character in the minds of the movie makers. That was the character.
And they nailed it.
And it was fun. It was a romantic, Tarzan movie. She comes to the jungle, sees George. George goes back to the city. Then George has to go back to the jungle. Boom, boom, boom. First act, second act, third act. A movie.
A movie.
Last thing I want to say about Dudley Do Right: 1 hour and 23 minutes with a 6-minute cartoon and 6 minutes of credits.
Is it only 6 minutes? That cartoon felt a little longer to me. Like by the time it was over, I was like, we've used up like 15 minutes of screen time. Easy.
So it's about 6 minutes, of credits. So that leaves about 1 hour and 8 or 9 minutes.
And the movie still feels bloated. That's what's crazy. They couldn't even fill that much content. They tried everything and they just messed up. It's sad.
So Tony, do you know who Dudley Do Right is?
I mean, in a tangential sort of way. Like, I remember the cartoons, but I couldn't tell you what a single one of them is about.
Yeah.
And I remember they're just like they were like snack size cartoons. And I don't remember, were they with Rocky and Bullwinkle? I honestly don't remember. But I remember all that sort of thing, but I don't remember them. I remember a guy that rides backwards on a horse.
Yeah.
Did he do that in the movie?
Yeah. Maybe once.
Okay. I don't even remember.
I mean, we'll talk about this. Horse leaves the movie very early on. And
he's
then
gone for most of it.
Sort of comes back for unknowable reasons.
Yep. Just shows up on a hill. I don't know, man. Okay.
We don't. Okay. So this movie, very short, but we start with a cartoon. We get the fractured fairy tale cartoon thing, and then we go into just a really straight up J. Ward fractured fairy tale cartoon.
Sure.
at the end, it has its own credits, and then we roll, credits again and start the movie.
And what's interesting is they're different credits. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting I'm getting two totally separate credits, and I'm like, who are these people from the first thing? Are they in the second? I kind of got a little confused on all the credits, if I'm being honest.
Now, do you remember a time when they would play cartoons before movies?
I mean, other than your favorite Disney Pixar movies that do like their shorts, no.
Um, back in the olden days, they used to.
Back in my day,
They used to, way back in the back, you'd start with a newsreel, then you'd have a cartoon. Even like normal films, you'd often have this. You'd have a newsreel, a cartoon, and then we'd go into the movie.
so they didn't have. Did they do like trailers back then for other movies like they do today, or have we kind of supplanted these stupid cartoons and newsreels for like awesome trailers that show the entire movie? So really, you're getting like 4 or 5 movies in one go.
They absolutely had trailers in the 50s and 40s.
Okay,
I don't know about the 30s, but
Okay.
certainly in the 50s, yeah. I mean, they had trailers for sure. But I don't know exactly how many trailers you would see back in the day. Now
Probably not 20 like you do today.
now you have a minimum of 4 up to 6.
Yeah, it's too much.
It gets to be egregious.
Yeah.
So, okay, next question. The guy that directed and wrote this movie, Hugh Wilson, who do you think he is?
I think he's an idiot.
No, like
Do you mean on a personal level
Like,
or like professionally?
What do you think his history is? Is he old, young, medium? Where's he in his career?
Probably 65 to 70, but has like early onset. Oh, sorry. No,
you should not
bad
joke.
joke. I'm sorry. He's not a guy that I imagine has ever made a movie, nor did he make a movie after this. I did no research. That is my guess. I think he's a one-shot non-wonder. And he took us $5 million and he went and retired on a beach and is just laughing somewhere.
Hugh Wilson, I'm not sure of this, but I believe he's the creator of WKRP in Cincinnati.
Oh, okay. So he already had some money.
It ran that show for whatever time. They did another show called Frank's Place where he won an Emmy.
I got to see Frank's Place.
Then he moved into movies, and the way he moved into movies was he did punch up on scripts, and they sent him this script, and it was terrible. And he's like, "Oh, I suppose I could do this." And they were like, "If you go through and rewrite this script, we're going to let you direct it." And he realized that's where the money was in movies, and that movie was called Police Academy.
What?
Police
I don't
Academy?
believe any parts of your story so far.
Have you heard of Police
Academy?
Academy?
None of that adds up to what I just saw.
So he said the script Police Academy was terrible. He went in, cleaned it up, made it good, and he tried to cut out a bunch of stuff, but they were all like, "Oh, leave that in," because it was supposed to be more of a gross out comedy as opposed to a comedy. He's a comedy guy, not a gross out comedy guy.
Oh, he is. I mean, self-proclaimed, clearly.
Self-proclaimed.
Because I see no evidence.
So he went to shoot Police Academy. We're doing a lot of pro, but this movie's terrible. So it's.
But this is very interesting to me. Went
in with a 143-page script, shot a bunch of things that they wanted him to put in there that he didn't like, and then in editing he was able to get rid of most of it. But then he ended up with Police Academy, which went on and was a huge success. That's why somebody gave him $5 million to do this movie. Because they needed it done quick because George of the Jungle was a success. They probably owned the right. They probably had, the option. So they're like, okay, we can get Brendan Fraser. We can get this. Boom, get in there. Make this movie. Boom. He must not have watched George of the Jungle.
I think he did because they use some of the same, like, I don't know the right word, but like utility. That's not it. But like the narrator, like they use some of the same things, but he doesn't understand how they're supposed to be done. And then also the movie doesn't make any sense. So like none of those things are helping. Okay. So here's the thing, Dan. If this guy saved Police Academy, I cannot deny or confirm, right? But if he did save Police Academy and then I had this stupid comedy that I wanted to make, I kind of get it.
No, it makes perfect sense, actually. he seems like he's the perfect guy to come in here, whip this thing, whop whop. We got this stupid cartoon. Give us a plot, give us a thing, do the thing, and we're gonna have we're gonna make our $174 million.
And if plot was the only problem, I'd be like, see, there it is. Someone should have wrote the script and then have him punch it up.
Yeah.
But there are also no jokes in the movie.
There's one joke in the movie.
Was there?
There's one
Please
joke.
elaborate.
I'm going to talk about that joke when we get
what
to
we're
it.
going to save
There's
it
one
for
joke.
the big reveal.
The big reveal of the one
Everybody,
joke.
hey, stay tuned, everybody. We got a big joke coming up.
There's one in here. It's at the 57-minute mark.
Oh my God. That's like 3 days in this movie's time.
Yes.
So I mean, I guess I don't blame the studio.
Nope.
But woof. I bet they're upset about it.
And he did not do a lot after this.
Of course he didn't, because everyone was like, wait, what happened? You made this? There's no way. There's no way you made Police Academy. I bet there's like a dark underbelly to Police Academy now that nobody knows about, where this guy pretends that he wrote everything. And then there's some guy just like got left in the shadows. He's like, but I wrote all the jokes. And nobody ever heard from him again.
We should probably look up who the other guy that co-wrote it with him.
That wrote it. The guy that actually wrote all the jokes. Yeah.
He's just like, this bastard came in and stole my Police
son of a
Academy. So we start off with this cartoon, Fractured Fairy Tales. Did you think it was going to just transition into the movie?
Full disclosure, for the first half of this cartoon, I was like, is this the movie? I don't remember if it's animated, I guess. I don't think it is. But then I figured, I was like trying to tell if I could hear their voices. It's like, maybe it's the people from the movie, like Brendan and Sarah, and they're doing these voices. And then I just kind of sat back and I was like, well, I have no idea what's going on. I'm just going to watch this stupid thing that's not very funny. And I guess we're just along for the ride here. There
was one funny thing in the cartoon. The one old guy carried his money in his beard.
Sure.
I like that.
Sure. All right.
Funny. So we get through all that, and now we start. And of course, we're going to have a narrator that's going to be doing his Paul Frees voice, and it's going to be like, a bunch of narration. The narration, not necessarily dreadful, not necessarily painful.
I mean, it's not painful, but it doesn't add anything to the movie. There are things that you're supposed to do with that voice that get laughs. Like there are things that we know that you can use. They're just the gimmies.
Yeah.
And they don't do those.
No.
And I don't understand the choice of using a narrator if you're not going to use the narrator.
Well, it's like in George of the Jungle. Yes, they use that narrator very consistently. It's paced out very nicely, and it sets up things. And then George, and then the bird flew back to San Francisco where it found other birds. It's okay. You run a little bit like there. Okay. This movie never ran any bits. So we start off with Dudley and Snidely and Nell all being kids and all being in this weird love triangle.
Yep. Let's we're already going to take a pause real quick here, Dan. Talk to me about, if you remember them, the Jay Ward like bits. Is that a thing?
Not really.
Okay, cool.
Because they immediately after this, we go into the cartoon credits where we see Snidely putting her on the railroad tracks to kill her.
Right. That's a good point. Now that you're saying that, I do remember that. And then he rides by on the horse backwards and then magically saves her.
And that was
right.
The Dudley Do Right thing is really a bit about very early serial kind of stuff where you ride in to save the day. You have the dastardly fiend who does the things. It's sort of a silent movie pastiche crossed over with the Canadian Mountie movies, which was another whole Nelson Eddy and those films, the singing Mountie films. You've probably watched a lot of Nelson Eddy movies, right?
Yeah. I mean, Eddie's my guy.
Yeah, Nelson. His name's Nelson
Eddy.
Last name Eddy.
Is that one name?
And the whole
Nelson Eddy?
I be calling you. They were like opera singers.
Is that from his movies? Okay. Yes. I thought it was from the cartoon because I don't know things.
No.
And I was like, it's not funny if it's from the cartoon, like I must be missing something. But okay, this makes sense. It's like an homage to the things that it's
Yes.
bastardizing.
And these movies, this woman, Nelson Eddy, and then the woman, I can't think, Jeanette McDonald, I think, they would come out and they'd sing like opera stars, and it's so horrible, and it just became dated instantaneously.
That's awesome.
So so those are the sort of bits that they sort of fused in the cartoon, and then we immediately set up a love triangle, which is literally the dumbest thing in the world.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense on a lot of levels, because her being into Alfred Molina's character it's a stretch too far for me.
And
he has no redeeming qualities.
And when
whatsoever.
it happens, and it happens a number of times, she lets him kiss her. She goes off with him. She does all these things, and there's no explanation as to why she would be involved with him at all.
Well,
There's not even a
she's not
line.
a character. Let's just get that out right now. She is not a character. She's set decoration that they just kind of bring along whenever they need, I don't know, something. It's weird. She's not a human being in this movie, and that it's dumb.
So we set up 20 years later. He's a Mountie. That was his dream. We do this whole bit where he falls off the chair 2 or 3 times.
I spent half the movie wondering if he was really a Mountie or not. Until the dad shows up and is like, "You're fired." I was like, I don't think he's really a Mountie. I think he just pretends to be a Mountie. But I was wrong.
You think he just built this fort in the cabin, and he's just like, he's just living out his Mountie fantasy. He went and he bought this. He went to a tailor's, like, make me this suit. I'm going to buy this hat. I'm just going to, because he never did anything as a Mountie, right?
Nothing. He never did anything Mountie related. And I was like, I think that he's just crazy. I thought maybe that's where we were heading, is that it was all like his fantasy. And then he was going to do something and save at the end. And they're going to be like, you should be a Mountie. That's what I thought the movie was going to be. It wasn't. It wasn't. Apparently he was a Mountie the whole time. I would have fired his ass too.
I'm so happy. So now we have this bank robbery, and it's like hundreds and hundreds of bad guys. And then they steal the gold. And then...
Hold on, this is one of my only laughs of the movie, Dan.
You liked all those guys?
I liked the line where he's like, "Can you wait till everyone gets inside?" And that's outside, and there's no way they're gonna fit. I was like, okay, if this is more like this, I'll get into it, and it wasn't. It wasn't.
It was a bit of interesting absurdity, which they then throw away with just confusing absurdity.
Yeah.
So they steal a bunch of gold and they steal a bunch of money.
It a bunch?
Who knows? Yeah,
it's not a bunch. They come out with 2 bags. There's 200 people, 200 extras, and only 2 people have bags. I was like, no, you guys couldn't even do more bags. They couldn't afford bags because they gave that guy $5 million. Stupid movie.
Oh, it's so good. So they do this whole thing where Snidely's like, okay, we'll divide up the cash between everyone, but I'm keeping the gold. And then he disappears amongst them and then tells them to go to like Bogota or something.
Yeah. I heard he went to Bogota. That was my impression.
And so then they didn't even take the money, I don't think. I don't even know if they took the money.
No, they leave the money on the table and then he steals it as well. So now he just keeps all of the 2 bags of money, which is enough for like rent for 1 month.
So they all just leave for a reason that we don't know. And then I wrote farting horse. I guess they had a horse farting.
It's horse. Horse. There's like farting. This running bit in the, I don't know why. So he does the tongue raspberry. He does that a couple times, and then he just farts once. And I was like, it's not used. You shouldn't mess up a fart joke. You know what I mean? Like, it is the most basic, easy to land joke, and they just fuck it up. How did they fuck that up?
So I was watching George of the Jungle. At the end, George of the Jungle locks the bad guys in a cage. Mm-hmm. And then he like calls the elephant over there. And then the elephant's about to pee on them. And they go, ah! And we cut away before they get peed on. And it's funny Because
Yeah.
if we sat there and watched him get peed on,
Hosed down.
well, that could have been very funny too.
You're right.
In a
Yeah.
very particular, but you'd have to do it. They like in this movie at one point, a bird comes over and shits on Snidely's head, which is
Yeah.
very reminiscent of Willow. Thank you, Ron Howard / George Lewis comedy chops. And it's like the same stupid thing. You're just like, oh, this is so dumb.
Yeah. Yes. It's all dumb.
So what Snidely's going to do is he's going to seed the area with the gold to start a gold rush. And so he's doing that by putting it into shotgun shells and shooting it places and then shooting it into rivers and stuff.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah. Sorry. No, finish your thought because I don't.
So the mine shaft collapses on him, and then Dudley like hears it or something, and so then Dudley goes there, and Snidely comes out, and then we start with one of probably the bit. I mean, I'm sure we could go back to the Mike Myers movie, not Halloween, the one where he plays
First
the Indian.
of all, it was a Jason movie.
Oh, Jason? No, Mike Myers, the comedian.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Gotcha. Whatever that one where he plays the love guru.
The love guru.
There's some bits in there which are like the worst bits that have ever been put in movies.
Sure.
This bit's right up there. The vampires bit. Talk about the vampires.
But they hit it a couple times. Good for them for sticking to this great bit. Okay.
Snidely says to Dudley that there's vampires.
And so Brendan Fraser, in general, oozes charm. That's his thing.
Charming guy.
Like he's charming, he's cute, affable, likable. He's none of those things in this movie.
No.
How do you strip the charm out of Brendan Fraser? I mean, I don't know how we dissect that, but this scene doesn't work because he's so flat. It's like, he's like, oh, you fight vampires with the gold dust. And he's just like, vampires. There are no vampires. They're vampires? I'm scared now. I must go. What is happening?
Well, because he's not scared.
But he's supposed to be scared.
But right? you can't play. If he was really scared, he'd have to act scared and do scared things. And he can't really be scared. He's supposed to be like an idiot, I guess. But he doesn't play an idiot It's like they don't know.
No.
I thought it was going to be like a whole get smart thing, where he's a bumbling idiot who does stupid things and then succeeds through his bumbling. That's what I assume.
Yeah, he accidentally solves the problems.
Which I think is a thing that is incredibly hard to act and incredibly hard to write. I mean, it takes really adept writing. And then this one, they were just like, well, how can Snidely put him off the scent? Well, we just talk about vampires. And we're just like, what? Doesn't make any sense.
It's not like there's other talks of monsters. Like there's no sense that in this world it's even remotely possible that someone would believe that.
Yep. It's like walking up to somebody here and saying, there's vampires coming to your house tonight. That person would say, uh-huh.
I mean, I'd be like, cool, sign me up. And if they don't come, I'm going to hunt you down for being a lousy little liar. Anyhow, before we go any further, I need to talk about the plot that you just described about the gold rush.
Yes.
I get the sense, and I could be wrong, I don't know, that this is meant for very small children, this movie.
This movie should have been made for It should have been made for children, but it's not. Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, then it's not, maybe not, but this plot is very confusing. Like a child would not follow this plot at all. He sets up a fake gold rush so that more people, like tourists, come to the town and spend money in the town where he gets more money. But he's really doing a good thing because he's attracting attention. So then Dudley has to become the bad guy to get the bad guy to become the... what the fuck is happening? If I'm a child, I tune out of this movie within 3 minutes, and I'm like crying in my seat in the theater because I want to leave so bad.
And I
It's
believe that's what
ridiculous.
absolutely happened. And that's the whole
As
thing.
an
He
adult.
throws all the people out of the town. All the weird guys come back. He sets them up as the whole as running the town. Not sure how that works. Not it's like
I don't know how that works either. Who gave him the town? He changes the name of the town. I don't understand. Was there no mayor of the town? Who ran the town beforehand, Dan?
well, and this is all stuff you can do in cartoons, right?
Sure.
You can have them do like the and that name chased off all the townsfolk. You're like, okay, this is the past, but this is like now.
Okay, that's another thing we need to talk about, Dan. I don't know when this movie takes place. I don't understand it because it seems like it takes place in the past for a while.
Yep.
I mean, for the first like 15 minutes, and then everyone shows up in cars at one point, and I was like, "What? Wait, there are cars in this movie?" And then at one point, he pulls out his camera, which is like a super old, like big, like camera.
Yeah.
And I have no idea when this movie takes place, and I'm so confused.
And that's the whole thing is he just he makes it seem like it's an olden time thing, and then he makes it seem now when he wants to use now things, and then we go to wherever they need to be, and that's the whole movie. Everything exists in this muck of non-existence, and that can work if the jokes are funny and the whole setups are funny and interesting, but they're not because we don't even understand the motivations or the abilities or the powers of anyone. Because in the cartoons, Dudley's always just trying to bring him in or stop him from doing bad things. He's not exactly even doing bad things, right?
Not in this movie.
He robbed the bank, and so Dudley should just go, "You're under arrest," and put him in cuffs and throw him away. But no, he mentions vampires, and Dudley just runs away. That means you're terrible at your job.
And then, I mean, because again, I didn't think it was his job, so there's that.
So we get some exposition. Nell is gone. Where's she gone? Whatever.
Nobody knows. Yeah,
and she's
don't care.
And she's not coming back. Why? How? Don't understand. Then Snidely shows up, and then he is wearing vampire fangs, and he scares Horse, and Horse runs away through a hole that's horse-shaped, and doesn't come back for the rest of the movie.
It's horse-shaped, but it's the smallest horse in the world. Brendan Fraser can barely make it through the hole that a fucking horse just made in the wall. That doesn't make any sense. Are you kidding me? Make it at least remotely anatomically correct. God, it's unbelievable. This movie's so stupid.
So then Nell comes back. Why or how? Who knows? We do this Wayne Gretzky middle name joke.
I almost laughed, but Brendan Fraser's the way that he delivers the "I don't know either" kind of ruined it for me. But I like the idea of being like, the test of your Canadianship is knowing Wayne Gretzky's middle name, and then neither of them know it. I don't know. It's funny.
It's a joke. It didn't land, but it is a joke.
They tried.
So then he's like, he says she's a vampire, and she says you're a vampire, and then he looks in the mirror and he's like, I'm a vampire.
This is a continuation of knowing his middle name. It's like, if you're not a vampire and you're a real Canadian, you'll know his middle name, which is not how vampirism works. They would still know because it doesn't matter. But he's like, I don't know his middle name. I must be a vampire. And it's just so dumb. It's so dumb.
But he looks in a mirror and sees himself, which he should have said, oh, I'm not a vampire. Because he sees his reflection in the mirror. If he thought he was a vampire for a minute, but then stopped thinking he was a vampire because he looked in a mirror, I'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Sure. But nope.
He lights his hat on fire. They start doing the Calling You song. Then he goes outside and he spills water from the hat on her. What have you been doing? And then she lists all these things she's been doing, including U.S. ambassador to Guam.
I don't even remember that.
Which is like it's like we're going into the Catskills now. Now we're sort of seeing the Catskills nature of this movie, and it's so weird.
Yeah, I don't even remember that line. That's bizarre.
And then he steps on a bunch of boards as he's trying to tell her that he loves her, and then he
In his
can't
house?
say it.
I don't
Yeah.
understand the floorboard joke, Dan. His floorboards wouldn't be loose. That's not a thing. So dumb. And then they bring it back a bunch of times. It's just not funny. It doesn't work.
They bring it back once.
That's too. It's
So
too many times. Is all I'm
Then
saying.
he's like, "Let's go to the corn festival." And then they take a boat. Oh, there's like a whole thing with a moose head, which we're not going to talk about.
You're not going to talk about how the moose head falls onto him, but it's the fakest moose head of all time. And am I supposed to believe that this is a real moose head? I don't understand what's happening right now. It doesn't look anything like a moose. Like, why would he even have it on his wall? It's definitely a fake moose. It looks stupid. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand any of the decision that went into this movie.
And then he's in a canoe and he's rowing, and then the narrator has to say, after they go and find a moose head removal expert. And you're kind of like, if this movie was working, that should be a funny joke.
But it's not working.
But they don't. But actually, you know how they screw it up? They show him in the boat rowing, and you're like, where's the moose head? And then they answer the joke. They should have answered the joke before you had that thought. And then after a grueling 16-hour thing of removal, they're in the canoe. Boom. Okay.
In the canoe. Yeah.
Yes. You need to. The joke is in the wrong place, so it's not funny.
Yeah.
You're annoyed, and then the joke is like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Swing and a miss, you jackass.
So now we have the Choctaw Kumquats, which is a Brooklyn-based Indian tribe led by a older white male.
Yep.
Then we have the tap dance / river dance routine, and you're like, what the fuck? Is there a dance routine doing in this movie? Well, buckle up, people. This is only the first one.
And at this point, it's because they're like, what can we do to pad this movie? Let's do a 5 to 7 minute dance number that means nothing. There's no jokes in it. It's just a visual show. Have fun, everybody.
And then this one of the Indians, which is another white guy dressed as an American or dressed as a native.
Yeah.
Native. What do we call them? Native, but they're not American. Well, I guess they are Native Americans. I guess Canada.
They're Canadians,
aren't
they?
Well,
I guess you said they're from Brooklyn.
Who knows?
Dude, I don't
And this guy interrupts and says, Dudley, I've got information for you. And he goes over there, and it's like information we already knew, and it's information that Dudley ignores.
Yeah, it's nothing. There's no reason to have this scene. He goes over there and he's like, okay, well, thanks for telling me. I don't give two shits. See you later.
And then a guy finds gold in the river.
Oh,
do you know who that guy was?
The camera.
The prospector. Do you know who that guy was?
No.
The actor? The actor that played that guy? Yes, I think I do. One of the greatest comedians of all time.
It's Jim Carrey?
Didn't I just say one of the greatest comedians? You think
you're right. You didn't
funny.
say the greatest. You're right. Number one, my oh my, Jim Carrey. What? Who is it? What's going on?
Christ, it's Eric Idle. Do you know who Eric Idle is?
No. Do I?
Tony, can you name even one member of Monty Python?
Yes. Gleason. Nailed it.
Who?
What's his name?
You said Gleason.
Is that not right? What is it? Gleason?
Who are you talking? Who is this Gleason of which you speak?
You know, the good guy. The guy that's great.
And what was he in?
John Gleason.
And what was he in?
Holy Grail. You mean other than Monty Python, do you mean? He did the Yell sketch with Monty Python, and that's one of the only ones I've ever seen.
Talk to me about the Yell sketch from Monty Python.
When he comes in, when you go into a room, is it sarcasm? I don't remember what it is.
This is my favorite thing I've ever done. I'm so happy.
Is his name not Gleason? What is his last name?
His name is John Cleese.
It's just Gleese? There's
His
no
name-
way that's right.
He made it up because his name was, I think, John Cheese. It might have even been John Cheeseman. I don't
Oh,
see
wait.
Yes.
Wait, are you saying that Cheese was the real name and he changed it to Gleese?
I believe his real name was, I think it was John Cheese or John Cheeseman, and I think he
His
changed
birth name is John Cheese?
I think so. I might not be right. This is like, my mind's about as functioning as Tony's, so this like come back at me. And then he changed it to Cleese because he didn't want it to be John Cheese.
Sure, no, I get it.
And that Cleese is not a name. It's like there is no British name Cleese.
Sure,
So he's
that's
like,
why I
he's
thought
the-
it was Gleason.
He is the Cleese.
Who's Gleason? There's a Gleason.
Hold on a second, Tony. That is not why you thought it was Gleason. Is because
no.
Cleese is not a real name. Don't give me that.
No. Because when you say Gleese, what does it say? Gleese. It doesn't sound like a thing to me. There's no way. Who's Gleason? Jackie Gleason? Is that a person?
Gleason. I was praying to God you were going to say Jackie Gleason. And then,
God damn it.
And what was Jackie Gleason in?
Not a clue. Is it not Monty Python?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh,
Jackie Gleason's an American comedian who was the star of The Honeymooners.
I've never seen The Honeymooners. I think they rebooted that.
I'm writing that down because they probably did, and we have to do.
We should probably watch it. Yeah.
Whatever stupid movie with Rick Moranis is.
John Cleese? Are you sure? I still don't. That doesn't sound right to me. I don't know, man.
More importantly, John Cleese was the voice of one of the monkeys in George of the Jungle.
Oh.
And that's why they went and got Eric Idle to do this part, I assume.
Sure. Because you're saying he's also part of Monty Python.
He's he did Spam a lot and has done all sorts of amazing things.
Okay.
Well,
now what's the sketch? Because now I'm all turned around. What is the sketch? They go to the office and they're like, I need to go to this room. And then he's in the room. And is it sarcasm or is it yelling? It's one of those two, right? Dan, you're not helping. I need to know.
There's all sorts of ones where they go to the room.
No, there's a specific one. We have to quit this podcast.
This parrot's dead. He's no more. Have you ever seen the Dead Parrot sketch?
No, I like it already, though.
My God, what is wrong with you, Tony?
Well, I'm not 50 years old.
Okay, tap dance routine. Guy finds gold. So Eric Idle finds the gold, and then Snidely takes his picture. And then instantly he is on Regis and Kathy Lee as the person who found the largest gold find ever.
Which is not right.
And then one of them says, yeah, but it was on this other guy's land, so you don't get the money.
Now, is that how that would work? It might be.
Sure, you can't just if it's my land, I own the mineral rights. Yeah, you can't take minerals off of my land. Just like you can't set up a farm on my land and start farming. Yeah, it's my stuff. You could do that, but
what are you
it's my
do about
stuff.
It, Dan?
If you start your big weed farm on my land, I go collect the weed up and I sell the weed, and I'm tell you to go F yourself.
Wow, Dan.
Okay, so we start with a giant gold rush. Then we have this crazy. We have this scene at the border, and so like all these people are now coming from the U.S. to Canada, but because Canadians don't want a gold rush, they have a line in there why the Canadians wouldn't do it. I don't even remember what the line was. And this dude's fighting like a fly, and then here come all these cars, and they like crash through. This is like how they spent the money. They crash through all these other things, and and they
and
they say they're yuppie wetbacks and dentists.
Correct. Yep.
Then we have this scene where Snidely divides up the jobs in the town. The one guy wants to be something, and then he's the coroner, and then this other guy becomes the brain surgeon of the town.
Did all of this happen?
This was all in the movie.
Dan, full disclosure right now, I was just looking at my notes. The last note that I wrote was, why is there a dance number in this movie? I think I quit at the at the river dance. That's the last note that I wrote.
Tony, we're barely even a half an hour into this movie.
And yeah, I quit, man.
Okay, well, we're going to pick up the pace because this is already going to be a long show.
How could this be longer than Dune?
Because nothing happens in this movie. And there's a lot more to talk about in a movie where nothing happens than in a movie where everything happens in the universe. Okay, the town is busy. We see a magazine stand. They've mocked up all the magazines with Snidely on the cover. But
they're all the same picture. Did you notice that? It's the same head, but they put it on different bodies. I actually thought it was funny.
They built like a full-size statue of him in the thing and water feature. It's just like there's like all this. There's just like all these throwaway jokes and all these props that we never really see, and you never get a chance to absorb. No. And they're just thrown
on
away
screen for like 2 seconds tops. Ridiculous.
It's just how can we piss as much money down a drain in 100%. A worthless movie? Then Dudley has a dream about the horse, and Horse tells him the truth about everything that's going on somehow. And then
does the horse have magical powers in the cartoon, Dan?
No, the horse is just a horse.
Because I was getting that vibe, and I wasn't sure if that was a thing. I don't know.
I don't think the horse talks in the cartoon, and not the one I watched. It didn't talk.
So just to be clear, the horse only talks in the live action movie? That's dumb.
I mean, maybe it talks in the cartoon, but I don't remember that.
I don't think it does. I think you're right.
So then we should start playing golf, is what Snidely's assistant says to him. So now we can have a scene on the golf course. Or was it a miniature golf course? It was a miniature golf course.
Yeah, it was mini golf. Putt, putt.
So there they are, and then Dudley shows up, and then Nell shows up, and then Snidely kisses her, and then Dudley yells at Nell, and then Nell gets in the golf cart with him and sits in his lap, and then Dudley tells him what his plan is, and then Snidely's like, okay, let's get together later and talk. And that's the end of the scene.
Yeah, well, yeah, because Snidely's like, you're not smart enough to know my plan. And then he tells him the plan is like, oh, you are smart enough. Let's hang out.
This scene, you could spend an entire semester in a movie writing course about what is wrong with this scene. Everything. That's it.
Like literally everything.
All you can say is everything. Nobody's a character. Nothing happens. Everybody just does stuff that makes no sense. Yeah. There's no resolution, and there's the most random continuation that exists on the planet.
You know what would make this scene better?
Nope.
John Cleese cameo.
Yes. So then they blow up Dudley's shack.
Is that what do we see that?
Yeah. Well, do we see it? Shit. Well, they set up the dynamite, and then we see there's a cardboard cut out of him in there for an unknowable reason.
Oh, yeah.
And then the shack blows up.
Yeah, I remember this
but
now.
Dudley's in Ottawa talking to like a government person. The chief is there with him for unknowable reasons.
Yeah.
And we're sort of told in narration that the government guy is bad. Okay.
Oh, we are. I don't even remember that.
We're told that.
We're told it.
There's no reason to remember it because it doesn't mean anything and it doesn't really play out, and there's no reason for it. It's just another scene we could shoot in this movie.
Yeah.
So Snidely's like, oh, we're going to build the hotel here, and then Dudley comes across on a train or in a car? What was he in? He was in something weird.
I do not remember.
And they're like, Dudley's not dead. He calls Nell, have you seen my office? And then another car shows up and the inspector shows up. And the inspector is, I don't know if he's the worst actor we've ever seen, but he's damn close to one of the worst actors I've ever seen.
I mean, there's a lot of bad acting in the movie, to be fair. I thought maybe he was just playing it down so he'd fit in. you know?
And he's like, "You're fired."
Which is the first time that I realized he's a real Mountie. This is the moment when he's like, "You're fired from being a Mountie." I was like, "Wait, he was a Mountie?" Unbelievable. Took me by surprise.
And then he takes his clothes.
Yeah.
And we have
as you
this
do.
whole thing
Because
of him
apparently
like
that's a big deal.
he has to dig out like this trunk that's been in the blow up area, and then he has like a little
The
suit he
blow-up
wore as a
area.
kid, and there's like him remembering being a Mountie kid.
Which is why I didn't know that he was a real Mountie. All these things. It just doesn't make any sense.
So then he goes and lives with Eric Idle, the prospector, and Eric Idle's like, and then one of them says, "I'm your new best friend."
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay.
Did those characters meet?
No. I don't believe so. No.
Then we have another scene where there's this dinner with Nell and the inspector and Snidely that is like literally, I think they tell like 2 jokes and then it's over. Like,
They tell jokes?
well, they said a
Must have
couple.
missed it.
They said words that were akin to jokes.
They said words.
Then we do like breakfast at the cabin. Then we have Snidely getting more gold, and Dudley sees him getting the more gold. So there was a joke there because the prospector's standing in front of me. He's like, "I can't see anything," and the prospector moves out of the way.
Right. Yep. Right. Yeah. Great.
Joke.
Great.
And then we have these guys on the motorcycles.
Wait, when do we get the scene where he's like, "Say I'm dangerous"?
We got 2 more pages, baby.
Say you're dangerous. I'm dangerous. When's that scene?
We got 2 more pages. So he tells him, "You're going to have to steal the gold." And he's like, "Oh, I don't know about that." And then there's a party.
Because like, you got to be the bad guy because he's the good guy.
Then there's a big ball dance party where we have, and then we have like a dance off.
Another dance number, yeah, like a la Grease style.
That leads to nothing.
Yeah, not at all.
So there's dancing.
I have no idea why it's in the movie.
Now we're to the next thing. The prospector is gonna train him.
Okay, this is my other. So I laughed at the beginning of the movie, and then I laughed during this scene, and that's it.
Okay, you laughed during the daring scene where he's like, "You got to be daring," and he puts a line in the sand, and then he's like, "Well, you told me not to cross the line in the sand," and then when he finally does, he pokes him. Haha.
No, it was the dangerous when he's like,
Trust.
"Say I'm dangerous, you're dangerous, I'm dangerous. Say you're dangerous." That scene.
I don't know if I wrote that scene down. I don't know.
Well, it's the same scene. Just happens right before the line.
Oh, okay. So we already did that scene.
Yeah, we did it. We missed it, and it didn't go anywhere.
It was so not funny. I didn't even write it down because it was just like a tiny bit of someone saying the word dangerous.
Correct. Yes.
You thought that was funny.
A couple times. They say it a couple times.
Oh, if
it was Jackie Gleason, you would have loved it, Dan.
It's a who's on first.
Yes.
Say I'm dangerous. You're dangerous. No, you say I'm dangerous. I said it. You're dangerous. And then he's like,
say you're dangerous. Like I did. Yeah.
You're dangerous. I'm dangerous. Oh, yes. It's really stupid.
And then we just move right on.
Then we do trust where he throws rocks at him, hits him in first one head, second one head, third one crotch.
I mean, you got to end with a nut shot, right?
Then instinct. Then he puts a blindfold on and then he gets beaten. Yep. So then he tortures one of Snidely's guys. He puts him on the thing where, it's the saw, the buzz saw.
Yeah.
He's going to cut him. And then the guy's like, "I'll tell you everything." And then he punches the saw and it breaks. And he's like, "It's paper mache." Tony, was it paper mache?
No, it might be like rubber or something to that, but it's not paper mache. Paper mache, first of all. No.
Tell us about
I've made a lot of paper mache heads in my day, okay? And that is not paper mache.
So if you as a child, 9-year-old Tony, sitting in the movie theater watching Dudley do right, and then he breaks the saw blade and then holds up a piece of foam that's been spray painted and says it's paper mache, would you get angry that it wasn't paper mache as a kid?
I would say, no, that's not paper mache, guy. You don't know what that is. If I am a kid, it was probably right around the time that I was making the paper mache heads in class, and I know exactly what paper mache is.
Spoken like a true child. So he rides a motorcycle, steals gold, and then we have a gigantic motorcycle chase.
Is it gigantic? I don't
have
know if I'd say that.
Medium-sized motorcycle chase.
Perfect. Yeah. Very exciting stuff. Really good.
At the end, he makes this big jump. Oh, and he machine gunned his initials into like a wall at the beginning.
Yes.
Now we're going to get to the one joke that I liked. They're all like, DD, what does
Naming
that
people?
mean? What? And they
Sure.
start naming people, and then the last guy's like, it's initials D and D, and the last guy's like, Dan Rather.
Dan Rather.
That's a good joke. If this had been a good movie, I would have laughed. I didn't laugh,
Sure.
but the joke is a funny joke.
It's funnier talking about it now than it was when I saw it in the movie.
Sure.
Because you're so angry at the movie that you don't care.
So we do a whole thing where he's doing bad things, so he toilet papers the mini golf. Then the prospector leaves to go see his family. We're like, okay, we don't care. And then we have a thing where Snidely is painting Nell, and it's a paint by numbers, and Dudley shows up, and Dudley says, you're wearing navy blue, I'm wearing black, I'm the real bad guy. And then he takes a chainsaw and he makes a bush look like Nell, and Nell likes it. And this is when the bird shits on Snidely's head.
Yeah. And the whole time that I'm watching this scene where they're arguing about the coats, I'm just thinking about is it Fall Out Boy that sings this song? I'd stop wearing black if they make a darker color. That was all I could think about the whole time, because this scene is so fucking stupid that I want to go anywhere else but here.
I did not think of that song, Tony.
Have you heard the song? I'll play it for you later.
No, thank you. Then they do some planning in the mud bath. There's a town meeting. The tide is turned. Then we have another dance scene with Brendan Fraser as the lead dancer. Dressed as the bird.
I don't know if I remember this one.
He's dressed as a bird. Doing the bird.
Oh, right. Yep, that's right. Clearly not him during the dance, because that guy is ripped.
And now Nell loves him because of the dance show.
Because she's not a human being.
Now we have the boat attack. You didn't really think when you were going to watch Dudley Do Right that there was going to be a boat attack, a motorcycle chase, and 3 dance numbers.
Well, mainly because I didn't know that there were motorcycles at the time of Dudley Do Right. I was pretty convinced it was before that.
None of us did. The boats attack, and they shoot him with fireworks, so Snidely wins, and then there's reporters, and then they follow them into the forest, and then there's rock throwing, and then they throw boulders.
Yeah.
And then Horse shows up finally.
Yep, just like the dream.
And Dudley doesn't get on Horse, he just leads him around.
Yeah.
And he finally gets on Horse and then rides between 2 tanks that shoot each other.
Yep. Is he riding backwards? When does he ride backwards?
That was a while ago. It was near the beginning of the movie.
I don't remember that happening. It's so weird.
I think he was sitting on the horse backwards at one point, right at the beginning.
Oh, that's the fart. You're absolutely right. That's when Horse farts. Yep. Okay.
Then a bunch of other Mounties show up, and then it turns out that the prospector's wife is the Prime Minister of Canada. Here's your uniform. We're back at the fort. They step on boards, and that's the end of the movie.
Wow, we sped through that last little chunk there. So, in my mind, I don't care what they say. He was never a Mountie until the very end of the movie where they anoint him a Mountie. That's how I thought it was going to go, and that's how it went. I don't give a shit.
Why is this movie bad?
Why was this movie made?
To cash in on George of the Jungle.
It didn't work. It didn't work, guys. I just don't understand who would have read this script and been like, yeah, we can still make this.
Oh, because they had to make it. They spent all the money. They paid. I'm sure Brendan Fraser was prepaid. That $5 million to write and direct were prepaid. I'm sure they just said, whatever, we're going to do it. If we get lucky, These are the movies that get made that are just it. It's the same reason Valentine got made, right? And Valentine,
I don't think so.
yeah, no, exactly the same reason. Valentine was trying to make the money off of Scream, and they started it, and then it took 2 years too long and was bad.
Well, yeah.
And that's what happens.
I don't know if it was bad. I mean, Denise
Valentine-
Richards was great. David Boreanaz was great. It's
I
pretty
mean,
good.
was Denise Richards hot? Yes. I'm sure if you walked past her on the street at that same time, she would have just been as hot. I'm sure if you bought a magazine with hot pictures of her at that point, she would have been hot. Yeah, I mean, if you
Same
want
with
to,
David Boreanaz.
I mean, if I'm going to watch a movie with her being hot, it's not going to be Valentine. It's going to be like Wild Things.
But David Boreanaz is not in Wild Things, Stan.
But you see, if I'm going to watch a movie to see David Boreanaz in his underpants, I'm going to watch the Crow Dark Universe or whatever the frick it was.
Dark Universe. That's the Mummy, Dan.
Yeah, they just announced they're making a new werewolf movie or something. They just announced some.
Is it part? They've abandoned the Dark Universe, though, right? It's not technically okay.
Well, it's not technically part of that Dark Universe, but they will go back because there should be a universal Dark Universe. Absolutely.
I agree 1,000,000%.
It's a thing that should exist.
I'm going to watch all of them until they get it right.
And someone's going to get it right, and then they're going to let that person go, and hopefully that person makes 2 or 3 more good movies. It'll happen. I mean, the monsters are too good, Dudley. So Dudley Do Right is just like it's
great. That was a great segue.
It's like a path that once you start down it, they're just like, just finish it. Whatever. We can't lose that much. Well, you lost $60 million. You can use a lot.
You sure can, guys.
But then they just write that off, and they take all that movie out of the money out of the next movie, and then screw all the people that created that next movie out of their points.
Yeah,
it's Hollywood. So this was a great movie to pick, Tony. Maybe the least comprehensible movie we've ever done, and we just did Dune.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's bewildering.
It is just it's like you wrote a bunch of scenes on paper and then just were like, here's a movie. And, like a different person just wrote, right, like a sort of Dudley Do Right scene. And I wrote one and you wrote one, and then we just filmed them.
Yeah. Which we could do. And it would be better than this shit, Dan.
It would be funnier and better than this movie. This movie is so bad. Yeah, I would rather watch The Love Guru than this movie.
Well, sure, because The Love Guru at least gets their fart joke right.
They did not get their fart joke right. They failed it. Their fart joke was
better than this fart joke, Dan.
Their fart joke was the Love Guru's fart joke, better fart joke than this movie.
Yes. Agreed. And the musical numbers are great in The Love Guru. If you remember that. That's the saving grace of that movie, is it should have just been like a fun musical instead of whatever the shit that they did. But
and you have Sarah Jessica Parker versus what's her name?
Jessica Alba. It's not really a competition.
Jessica, I can watch those Fantastic Four movies with her just to look at her skin.
Well, also Chris Evans is pretty great.
He's okay.
In that first one.
He's okay.
The flame on, but picture this, but everywhere. That's a great line. It's a great line.
He's so charismatic. It's almost funny.
Yeah, I love him.
Almost not funny. Anything else to say about this steaming pile of
this is an hour and 12 minutes longer than I wanted to talk about this movie. So, no, I'm all good.
So I think we've gone after poor Hugh Wilson. He made up WKRP in Cincinnati. God bless him. This was not his finest day.
This was nobody's finest day.
So now we talk about something we like this week. This is not necessarily something I like, but just something I've been watching, which is really weird, and I just want to talk about. Do you know what stealth camping is?
I really do not. It doesn't sound like a real thing.
Totally a real thing. What these guys do is they'll see an empty gas station in the middle of the field, and then they'll go over there and camp there for a night. And then record themselves walking around and hiding from people. Or they'll like just pick like some like part of the woods like right off of a street, and then they'll like this guy's like, I'm wearing a business suit so people don't know that I'm stealth camping, and then he sneaks away to his tent and stealth
What are
camps.
you talking about?
Hold on, it gets
right now?
better. It gets better. This other guy is like, okay, I'm gonna stealth camp for 24 hours at a Walmart parking lot. Dude goes to the first Walmart. There's signs, no camp, no park, no overnight parking. Goes to the next one, no
Sure.
overnight parking. He goes to the third one, overnight parking, but you're gonna lose your mind over this one. This Walmart does not have the hot foods that I want to experience during my 24 hours overnight camping at Walmart.
What the Okay, hold on. I don't understand the point of what is. That's not even stealth camping because he's going to a place that allows him to camp. Why would you, if you're stealth camping, shouldn't you stay at the one that says you cannot overnight camp here? So then you have to stealth camp. Otherwise, you're just fucking camping. What are you talking about? Dan?
So then he goes to the fourth Walmart that doesn't have the signs.
No, I gotta get my hot food for my stealth camp. What the is the dumbest thing you've ever said to me?
So he goes and basically he just sits in his van, and like he's got like a little tray that clips into his steering wheel, and he puts a little placemat, and he goes in the Walmart to the hot foods, and then he buys like samosas and desserts, and then he
So he's not stealthy. He's not doing anything stealth at all. He's just camping. This guy's just camping. I don't understand.
But everything is about the food. It's all about the food that he's eating. And it's basically camping while 24 hours of eating food from a Walmart while living in my car.
I don't understand what you're saying to me.
And then these guys have like Patreons, so people pay them to go and do these things.
To just camp out? And then I don't understand. I don't understand where the stealth part of it comes in.
The other guy, the one that I started watching, he's like, okay, I'm going to go to someplace really cold and snow, and I'm going to set up 2 tents, one tent inside the other tent, and I'm going to see if I can keep the tent warm with just little tea candles, the little tiny candles. And so then he has like a whole bag of the candles, and he's...
Who cares? Why are you watching this? Stop supporting these people, Dan. Okay?
I can't stop. It's so great. There's so many weird places to go.
Dan, we got to get you off the internet and
Never.
outside among people. You're starting to scare me.
Which is bullshit. Why can't we make a living on our stupid show? And all these guys like do the dumbest things, and we're at least kind of funny. I'm
gonna stealth camp the shit out of everything from here. I'm gonna stealth camp in my living room, Dan, and I'm gonna bring my hot plate.
I'd probably watch.
You got problems, Dan.
I do have a lot of problems. Okay, Tony.
I don't understand how I don't understand anything anymore.
What do you got for us, Tony?
I mean, you should have gotten second because mine's just like a regular thing.
That's okay.
And I understand that for the people watching and listening to this, Halloween is over, so you want to move on. But the Chucky TV show came out this past week. I watched it. I'm having a great time. I mean, it's not great, but it's good, and I'm excited to see where it goes. And Chucky's got some good jokes in it. And they say the F word, which I didn't actually expect to happen.
Dropping the F-bomb on network TV?
Yeah. It's on Sci-Fi, so I guess it's like
the F-bomb. Sure.
Cable?
Yeah.
I don't understand the rules.
Did you realize that the guy that does the voice of Chucky was the mentat in Dune that gets the poison gas breathed on him?
No.
That guy is the voice of Chucky.
Hey, he's had a great career.
Now you're going to think about him.
They've done like 30 movies.
You're going to think about him every time you look at Chucky from now on.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Big eyebrows.
Those weren't real. Those were fake, okay?
You're still going to think about him.
Yeah, I love them.
Okay, next week. So we've been doing a lot of movies that are based on books / cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
They're adaptations.
Sure, they've got their own Oscar category.
Yes. This movie is another adaptation.
Great. Sticking with the theme.
One of the greatest actors of our time.
Josh Hartnett.
What is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you? Although I loved The Faculty.
Oh, The Faculty's so good.
They thought that movie was going to be huge, and then it didn't turn out to be huge.
I feel like it's one of those things that got like a cult following later.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's great that it finally gets recognition, but like it's too bad that those things don't land right away.
Yeah, did not let it. That one and Slither is my other movie like that. That really great movie.
Yeah, Slither was great too.
Great movie. But James Gunn went on to do things. So this is another adaptation with one of the greatest male actors of our generation.
The answer
who
still
you
the same.
love, and he has done a lot of terrible things. And
yeah, okay.
And then
it's not Josh Hartnett then.
It's not Josh Hartnett. And the other actor, who's actually the star, is a well-known cannibal.
I'm sorry, did you say cannibal? Is that the word you just said was cannibal?
Yes.
I don't understand what's happening.
You don't know about the one movie star out there that's a cannibal?
Oh shit, Armie Hammer. We're doing The Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger! Another horse movie.
Oh, Johnny Depp. Oh no.
I thought of this one a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, I cannot fucking wait to do this movie because
this is fucking bonkers.
I think I made it about halfway through it. I had to turn it off because it was so fucking bad.
And I saw this opening night at midnight with a bunch of my friends, and it was the worst night ever. This movie
Did anybody walk out of that?
Way too long. We don't walk out. We don't believe in it. If you're there, you got to stick it out to the end. Don't be a whiny little bitch about it. I haven't seen it since. I don't remember, I think, any of it.
I just remember the Johnny Depp stuff being incredibly problematic.
Yes, 100%. Even at the time, like how that's got to say a lot. Because we were pretty loosey-goosey back then.
Yep. So Lone Ranger adaptations. I think
oh boy.
I think we can maybe think about whatever you're going to want to choose after this one. Maybe another adaptation because I think this is kind of a fun place
all right.
Where you can really see how it goes wrong. You know, Lone Ranger. Wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong. So this has been Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. If you like what you see, leave us a comment, leave us a thumbs up, there's a third thing. I don't remember what it was. Oh, subscribe.
Sure,
subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe. Click.
Because we love you guys, you know. Thank you, because this is a fun thing to do, and just knowing some people are out there seeing it brings warm to our hearts. Because I know my buddy Todd is listening or watching.
Yay, Todd!
And that's the one thing. So Todd listens to it, and he puts it on the computer and works on stuff while he's listening to it.
Sure.
And his cat sits there and listens. And his cat loves you, Tony.
I'll be honest, this may sound weird. I'm a hit with cats. Cats generally really like me. I don't know what it is. People, I go to people's houses and they're like, oh, be careful, my cat doesn't really like people. They're on my lap in like a minute, and we're having a great time. I don't know what it is. I got a connection with them. What's up, cat?
Tony's a cat guy. We know how that movie ends in a small apartment with lots of cat flesh moving around.
Sure.
And Tony
honestly, I thought this was ending with me dying and then the cat's eating me. So I like your ending.
That's what happens after you die.
Okay.
Up until you die, it's just you surrounded by cats that love you. Then you're surrounded by cats that have their bellies filled by you. Yeah.
They have to survive. I get it. I don't hold it against them at all.
Live. They can bury your bones.
They
might eat the bones. I wonder if the cats eat the bones of the human being too. We'll have to find that out.
It sounds like something a cat might do. At least the marrow. Maybe they get in there and suck out that marrow. It's a delicacy.
Delicious. So that's been the show. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Hey,